Hey everybody.
What's going on, world?
This is your girl Danny.
This is your guy TJ.
And welcome to yet another episode of LoversQuarrel. How's everyone doing?
How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm slinging and banging, moving these bricks.
Oh, because you gonna stick with that narrative?
I mean, listen.
What bricks?
Listen, I can't talk too much about it. The feds be listening.
Listen. You telling yourself right now.
No, all I said was I was slinging and banging, moving these bricks. You started asking all these other questions. Mm-hmm. You trying to get me jammed up. I got to check you for a wire now. It's crazy.
Anyway, so yet another episode that we are bringing to you. And we have a very, 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 very special guest here with us. Our friend.
Yeah.
Fellow podcaster. She's a podcast queen. Mandii.
Don't do that. Not the queen. Not the queen.
Mandii from Horrible Decision.
Hi, I'm so glad. I was just telling you guys that I'm so glad to finally have made it on here.
Yes.
Jesus, it's been a long time coming.
I know.
And I do want y'all to know, they introduced me right. I am a friend, y'all. This isn't just me being a guest on the show. I have grown to really get to know Danny and TJ for quite some time now. Mm-hmm. Meeting them outside of the Brilliant Idiots live show.
Yeah.
And since then, we've opened up. We've talked about podcasting, work, school, life.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what both of you guys are doing, and I'm glad to be on your platform.
We're glad to have you.
We appreciate you.
And we appreciate you because you are a busy woman.
Yeah,
so we do appreciate your time. But so as always, it's time for elevator talk. Going up.
Go ahead.
I'm going up.
Yes.
I'm in another great mood because you know what? It's July. And you know what happens in July?
What happened in July?
My motherfucking birthday.
Hey,
So,
turn up one time.
I'm looking forward to it. It was, I was excited for 30, and the year 30 had its ups and it had its downs.
It did.
But you know what? I'm still be excited for 31 because as my line sister would say, I'm gonna call it 31 WON, I won, or 30 fun, or whatever.
That.
So I'm gonna try and be doing the best I can possibly do. So I'm excited. It's my birthday month, and I'm gonna celebrate Danny a little bit.
I can fuck with that.
I'm gonna stay with you. I'm happy that it is your birthday. You get to celebrate you. You deserve it.
Oh, thank you.
This has been 2017, 2018 has been a rough year.
Yeah.
We introduced the birth of our
Tater tot.
Our love terrorist.
Yes, that's a good way to call her.
Your father passed away.
So
we had the positive with the negative. You work extremely hard at your job.
Thank you.
You're a hardworking mother, and you just do a lot. So the fact that you're excited about your birthday, you deserve that. So
thank you so much. That
was
really nice. I don't think people realize the superpowers of women.
Yeah.
To be able to juggle what they do especially with us no longer being just house moms or housewives.
Yep.
We're juggling careers, families, being mothers, not me yet, but you juggle so much as a woman and still being the caterer to your man, still providing and still taking care of the household. Yeah. So the superpowers of women is amazing. Yeah. It is, and I'm glad that as a man you can appreciate
it firsthand. My mother is my superwoman.
Right.
I've seen her do it all.
Right.
But to have a wife who does it all and to see her, sacrifice her body for a baby, it's a lot of things that growing up you don't think about. We may see a woman who's bigger and we're just like, she's fat, right?
Right.
As opposed to saying, no, she just pushed out a 10-pound baby,
human being,
and now she's trying to get life back, but. She may not have time off, or her leave may not be as extreme as needed. Like some companies give you a year, but some companies give you 3 weeks.
Or none at all.
But it's not only that. It's not only the stress or pushing out a baby as women. It's just harder for us to maintain the way, like, a man can go into the gym 30 days, he got a six-pack.
But
it don't work that way for women the same.
We did a cleanse once, and I lost like 15 pounds, and he was 30.
He was like 40,
And I was like, you see?
And we're doing the same thing, so it's not even that. Like, 100%. I don't think men realize how hard it is for as women to maintain the curves that men like, but then still being slim. And then, even with me, with my weight loss, I still have men like, oh no, you lost too much. And then you have men that do like the bigger women. So it's just like, we can never please everyone. Yeah. We're getting shamed, and we're not getting shamed, and we're, but it's all in a day's work of a woman. So
that it is.
I mean, and I guess I'll stay going up. I ain't gonna bring it down. We're not gonna bring the elevator down. And like I said, I talk with you guys about a lot. So I'm completely finished with my studies.
Yes, congratulations.
So I graduated now. So I have 2 bachelor's degrees, a BS in accounting and a BBA in marketing. Woo-hoo. And I'll be starting my new job, which is exciting. Yes, and then I started studying for my CPA this year as well. So in a couple months, I'll start doing that. So if it's not, I literally just left the stress of one thing and now just adding the stress of another. I think I stay busy. I can't not be busy, apparently. Yeah. So
the career is popping.
The podcast is popping. Life is popping. My love life is not popping. But, that's a whole nother. My sex life is. Love life is still not really there.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that.
I already know. I'm waiting for it.
So, with that being said, let's just go right on into the relationship tip of the week. And this week's relationship tip is a nod to horrible decisions, which is embrace the kinky side.
Yes.
Never shame it.
Yes.
Because we all have our proclivities. We all have things that we like that maybe aren't maybe left for what's done in the dark. So, but there's nothing wrong with it as long as it's legal, I guess, and as long as it's safe, then
even if it's illegal, bitch, have fun. Hold it up. No,
you gotta put some disclaimers.
You're right. Hold on, no pedophilia and no child porn, no animals. Like, is that illegal?
Yeah.
Yeah, bestiality.
So why are we allowed to watch it on Pornhub?
I don't know.
Because you could literally find horse dicks and dog dicks. All of that.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Or maybe it's a state. I don't know. Point is that I don't think that's what I'm saying. That's the only way.
We have to be responsible when we say this.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, they're gonna be like, Mandii told me it's okay.
Don't do that.
Mandii said I can embrace this. So
no.
So as long as again, it's safe and legal in your state, I guess. I don't know, but embrace, let your freak flag fly.
Specifically, I will say, let me add that to that then. You said this was relationship advice. I ain't in no relationship. But if you are, to embrace it and being able to communicate such with your partner.
You should be able to.
So don't feel like you have to hold it from yourself or find that pleasure elsewhere. Like a lot of people will assume things about their partner without even communicating it to them first. And you'd be surprised what your partner is willing to do to either please you or willing to try just, to make sure that you're happy in all ways. So if you're in a relationship, to just open up about your desires, your fantasies with your partner. Communication is key.
Yes. So how about this? I think that this is the earliest in an episode that I've had an episode title, and it's just going to be like, is it legal? So if we don't come with something if we don't have anything else before this episode ends, is it legal will be the episode title.
It's crazy though, because if you really look up the laws of sex in some states they still have outdated laws where like you can't even suck a man's dick if he's not your husband in some states. Like there's a lot of outdated laws on sex. I might want to look that up and do that in the episode one time.
You should.
It's really interesting in certain states, like what they will and will not allow. Like even in some states, it's okay to fuck your cousin.
It's okay to marry your cousin.
Yeah, and it's like
Danny went to get our marriage license.
I remember that.
They was like,
we asked them. We were like, "Have you ever had like relatives come?" And we were like, and he was like, the guy who gave up the marriage, he was like, yeah. And we were like, are you sure? Like, because it's very likely if you're like, your last name is Smith and my last name is Smith, that we're not related, but he was like nah, he was like that last name was like, smorgasbord or something like that.
And they had it, and it was
the same, and they were just sitting there straight face like. Yeah, we doing this.
So.
And he had to be like, okay.
Okay, well, it's legal here, so let me go ahead and sign this away. Yeah, so it's really interesting. So let's not... A lot of shit is still illegal, and people, we're all
y'all should do
an
episode on
that.
That
would be interesting.
It should be like one for each state and just go run it down.
Some shit that y'all might not even know. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So, with that being said, you've heard the voice, the very distinct, lovely voice of Miss Mandii, and Mandii B of Horrible Decisions, and she is, of course, like we said, one half of the Horrible Decisions podcast.
That's whore. Just I like to
WHORE.
Yes.
IBLE Decisions podcast. What you don't know is she's an author.
Yes.
Former model. She was a blogger.
Yes.
And she's originally from Florida, but now she thinks she's from the Bronx.
You know, you're... What up?
This woman is a recent college grad. Like she said, clap it up.
Thank
2
you.
degrees.
Thank you so much.
This is all of my intro for you.
I appreciate it. You are... I feel like you is boosting me up, baby.
Because Mandii, you know, Mandii is a multifaceted person. Yes. And I think sometimes people may not see that all the time until they get to know you or they hear about you. And then, of course, you know, you work in finance.
Yes.
So we're going to kick things off. And
lay it on me. I'm already ready.
I texted you earlier and I was like, and he's going to roll his eyes, so I'm already ready. And I actually was like, what's your birthday, right? Because I knew you were a Libra.
Yes.
So... the other day, I found out about this thing called, have you heard of color astrology?
Color astrology, never.
So it's kind of like, so me and you have talked like about astrology before.
We have.
And so.
Oh yeah, we talk about the balance and even you guys in a relationship, friends, work partners, like, because we talk about just the podcast, the dynamics and personalities, and we be going right to goddamn astrology.
So I was like, so you know, TJ is a Pisces, I'm a Cancer, you're a Libra. So color astrology is similar to that, except that it looks at the day you were born and it associates a color with the day you're born, and then like a description.
Black.
So, no, your color. So Mandi's birthday is, which is 10/11, October 11th, and so. It is Viola, which is this kind of like lavender. Purple.
Okay.
So it says, I just want to know if you think that this is accurate.
Okay.
So it says you are intuitive and sensitive. You have a propensity.
Nope, already wrong.
You have a propensity for design and choreography, and creating a more beautiful world is one of your innate talents. It is important for you to share your life with others. Podcast.
Yeah.
Love and partnerships contribute to you feeling happy and balanced. Try to surround yourself with beauty and peaceful surroundings. Your personal color accentuates your natural grace and elegance. Wearing, meditating, or surrounding yourself with Viola helps you move through any fear of indecision you may encounter. I think there's some accuracy in it.
There's some accuracy in that. I don't know. I don't know. To me, I'm not sensitive, but in some cases, maybe I am. And then I would say I do like company. And I do like good energy, and I do like love and people being around me. So I would say that that's right. I do find balance in good energy, which is why I've attached to y'all so well. Like, I just love good energy and good people. Yeah. More dick than love, but you know, it's the same thing. Right, I love dick, so I guess that works.
It said, you know, people and relationships. Okay, so you know, that's the people part. Or people's parts. Yeah. So, there you go.
I like how you did that. I see what you did there.
That's why she's the brains of the operation.
You know, that's why she out here teaching.
Yeah, you know,
trying to learn my kids to her.
Learn the babies. So, before we get into just Mandii, for those who maybe that listen to us but that have not listened to Horrible Decisions, even though we've talked to y'all or about y'all a bunch of times, just give people a little like synopsis on like what Horrible Decisions is.
Okay, so Horrible Decisions is a sex positive, women empowerment, anti-slut shaming podcast. And we focus on more of the taboo sides of, I would say, sex, and opening the conversation discussions to things pertaining to sex and relationships that are not often discussed within our community. And when I say our community, I mean the Black community. Whether it's LGBTQ, whether it is kinks, whether it's things pertaining to sex that your parents didn't teach you, you didn't learn in high school, and you probably didn't learn in college, and you only learned to it through experiences. And so we like to bring on different guests. We like to bring on different people who have experienced different things in their livelihoods that associated to their sex. their relationships, how they move in this new society of dating, and how they view other people, whether of the same sex or the opposite sex. And we just like to really open the conversations and kind of allow those conversations to be had with our listeners. We get so many responses that I added this in my group chat, y'all made me talk about this. And even a good friend of mine said, me and my partner listened to this episode, and he was open to things that I didn't think he would be open to. So I genuinely see the change that we're making, and we are just having these conversations. It started out as something to just be funny, talking about our host shit. And then I definitely think I love the direction we're taking into where we're more educating in a funny light. But it's still like we're bringing things to the forefront that maybe people aren't familiar with.
No,
so
definitely.
That to me is what Horrible Decisions is. And that's not a nutshell. That's a whole lot. But that's kind of what our show is on.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people to hear that, because I know, like, you know, because first, people hear the name.
Oh, and they be like, oh, them hoes just talking about hoe shit.
Or they or they see the logo, or they see what, and they're like, you know, it could be quick to kind of chalk it up as to be like very, very one dimensional, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Right.
So,
I mean, I was all for it though.
Yeah, I think you started listening to the show first.
My best friend hit me up like, listen, I just heard about this podcast, because when I had Maul on, Maul talked about it, and he listens to Joe Budden's podcast. So he was like, listen, it's right up your alley.
Huge shout out to Maul too. That was a huge spike when he even just mentioned our name on that show, like and getting more male listeners, because I don't think they hear women talk about sex in the light that me and Weezy talk about sex.
Yeah.
But then we have so many girls that are like, girl, I ain't know other girls talk like this either. So we get the male side. Like, I really feel like I'm listening to the inside conversations of women, but then we have women like, oh my God, y'all are my kindred.
I always like women conversation, because women talk more. They actually talk about things, whereas guys really don't. It hasn't been until
we done had some men, and we see how y'all talk.
Now that we're older,
a
lot of my friends, now that we're older, we can have those more adult conversations. But growing up, you don't really talk about those things. No. So, you know, my friend told me to listen to it, and I was like, yo, this is dope. This is right up my alley. So I told Danny about it, and then we met you at Brilliant Idiots. And I was like, Danny, that's her. I know her. So listen, we gotta go up there. Yeah. We gotta go.
I love how many males listen to our show. Like it really, especially, and it's crazy because of course now we're on YouTube, so it's 80-20 males to females, but of course y'all are more visual beings than women. We can listen to audiobooks. As women, I
listen to podcasts when I listen to music now.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's just great that the balance that we have between our male listenership, female listenership, and couple listenership. A lot of couples listen to us together, and I appreciate that too. So yeah, I like that what you said. I think people do get the wrong image because of the name and the cover art. But when you listen, I think we like to do a lot more good than just talk about shit.
There's definitely is levels to that shit.
There is levels, yes.
So, of course, like, part of your podcast, you guys started out talking about like y'all experiences.
Yes.
Doing all types of things.
Yes.
And when or how did you realize that you were like arguably more like sexually, and I'm putting air quotes around this, like free or just however you want to describe it, than maybe most people? And like, was it something that you just always kind of sensed about yourself, or was it something that you kind of like had like an aha moment or something like that?
No, I think I've always been that way. I mean, I've been masturbating and humping my teddy bears since I was fucking 7 years old. No, I'm just playing. No, in real life, I was humping my teddy bears.
No, I remember you saying this before.
But honestly, my mom, and so we both had our moms come onto the show, and my mom's just always been blunt. You guys met my mom as well, and so
hey, Mom.
Yes, she's always been just pretty blunt, straight to the point. I mean, we didn't really talk about sex growing up, but just the personality of my mom, I think, just kind of sunk into me. And then being in the generation I am in, we grew up, there was soft porn on TV. I remember watching Talk Sex with Sue Johansson, the old white lady on TV. And then just the music and what was on TV. And it's even worse now. Like the things that they show on TV now are even more crazy. So to me, it was just always a conversation. It was always open. I knew how sexual I was. I was like, I don't even want to lose my virginity because I know I'm finna be a hoe. Like, I already knew, like, even just the way I would crave men and how they looked, and I also knew I had also had an attraction to women very early. So To me, I just see it as a natural thing. Sex is natural. We all do it. How do you think everyone got babies? How do you think we're all here? Yeah. So to me, I always didn't like how it was such a thing, like we couldn't discuss. And as women, we had to be ashamed about it. And even growing up, it was, you know, as a boy, y'all have as many girlfriends as you want, have sex with as many women as you can because that makes you a man. But as a woman, we had to hide our sexual cravings, and we had to keep, you know, if we had sex, we lost our innocence, our pureness. It was always seen as a bad thing for a woman to embrace her sexuality, and I never really aligned myself with that. So for that, that's why, I mean, I make very sexual jokes. You can pause me with everything I say, because I'm going to make everything sexual, because to me, that's just me as a person. Like, and I feel like sex should be talked about more in that way than hidden or embarrassed. So because I embrace sex, it's easy for me to talk about and easy for me to embrace with myself.
True that.
You know, y'all feel me?
I feel you.
So being so candid on a public platform about what is often considered a very private topic can lead people to talking. Yeah, you made this very wordy.
You know, because
I was liberties on how they treat you, talk to you.
I was typing how I would say
how you would say. I get that,
but you gotta dumb it down for me.
Look, sometimes. He's like basically what he's like liberties. What is going on?
He's like basically because you're so open and honest on your platform.
How do you combat that?
Like when people try
you could have just did that.
People try to treat you
they do
and talk to you a certain type of way.
Oh, of course. Like even when say I meet guys, they want to have conversations with me that they probably wouldn't have on the first date or first conversation with a woman. It goes to sex. Yeah. I talk to sex on my platform. I openly talk about sex with my friends, but when I meet a guy, I don't want it to go directly to sex. Yeah. I like to also look at myself as a sapiosexual. So I enjoy a man with intellect that can have conversations about so much more than just sex. Sex is going to happen. I fuck, I suck. Like, do we have to go straight there in the beginning? No.
It's more.
I've had guys stop talking to me in fear of landing on the podcast. We do bleep names and we don't say names, but we have nicknames for people. And there has been, you know, certain situations where niggas may have known, you know, they were being discussed. So there has been a certain limit to who I have discussed and what relationships I've said on the show for that reason. But again, it's me. And something that I do like to draw the line between is, to me, I still look at my podcast as a business. So in a business sense, I still want to be treated and respected in that way. And unfortunately, I feel like because this is our podcast, like even if you listen to Brilliant Idiots and all these other shows, there's jokes about us fucking people. And to me, I don't like that, because we talk about sex, but I don't need the perception out there that we're fucking everybody just because we openly discuss sex. And I think that that's kind of a stereotype that goes on with women. If you're openly sexual, talking about it, that means you're open to doing it with anyone, and that's not the case at all. So I think that that's the line that I hate that is kind of brought about with what we talk about on our show.
And that kind of brings to our next question. Do you regret, is there any stories that you regret or bringing up about your sexuality that, you know what I mean, like kind of like backfired or?
You know what? No.
Okay.
I like to say that I live with no regrets. And even I did another podcast and they asked if I could go back and change anything, or was there something I regretted in my past? And to me, it's made me who I am today, and I think I'm dope as fuck. I'd be like, bitch, I'm fine, you know. But the confidence in myself and the person that I am and how I genuinely know myself now. I didn't think, when I was 21, 22, I thought I knew the world. And being where I am now, I feel like I know more of myself than I ever have. And I think I'm only that way because I'm honest, I'm open, and because I kind of am just, I don't sugarcoat shit. And so because I don't hide the truth about myself and because I walk in my truth, I definitely feel like I know myself more. So there's no regretting of anything. If you gonna hate what I say, or you gonna love what I say, or you're gonna be indifferent. But I'm gonna keep what I say. And so no, there's nothing that I've regretted. Of course, if there's anything that's been regretted, a name has been bleeped, or there's been something that's been edited out. But everything that I put into the universe, I am who I am, and I did what I did.
I like it.
Yeah.
True.
You know,
take full responsibility.
Yeah, you got to, on all your words, on all your opinions. And that's another thing with having this platform now. We get so much more feedback with people who hate what the fuck we say, or they think we should have said it differently, or they try to. We've gotten fucking 8-paragraph emails about how what we said was so wrong, and people trying to correct us. And even with my co-host, we battled as to how we respond to that. And bitch, I ain't apologizing for shit. I'm not gonna apologize. I think even with your platform, as soon as you start recording and making words come out of your mouth that you think are suitable because people may like it and it's not really what you stand on, you completely lose your voice.
Oh, I'm not.
You lose your voice. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people do that with podcasts. They say things because they want a certain reaction from people, or they want people to like them. And I just don't give a fuck.
Nah. See,
I just don't.
My father raised me to be very be who you are.
Yep.
Regardless. And you know, his favorite quote is, "One of us is going to be uncomfortable, and it's never going to be me." And that's what he lives by.
I do like that.
And that's what he lives by. And growing up, I'm like, it's kind of dope. Like, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be myself. You can love me or you can hate me, but I'm not going to change myself to make you happy. Like, you know what I mean? I shouldn't have to change myself. And we can have different opinions. It doesn't mean that I hate you. Doesn't mean whatever. It just means we think differently. And that's the world.
And I posted a quote from Charlemagne. It's the rule of 10.
Yeah.
3 people gonna hate what you have to say. 3 people gonna love what you have to say. And 4 people just not gonna give a fuck.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's just to show like you're never going to please everybody.
Exactly.
Ever.
So you gotta be happy.
So you just have to be happy and walk in your own truth and stand on your own words, and then it's all good.
Exactly.
So and this is one we've talked about before.
I knew this was coming.
Okay, so we talked about this before on your show. We talked about this before. We texted about it. Okay, so might as well just bring it all full circle.
Go ahead, let's do it full circle.
Yes,
because we didn't get to really touch on this.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So one hot button topic that we've discussed before is your experience with men who are in relationships and or married.
Yes.
So like I wrote the sugar daddy narrative. Do you still participate in those types of arrangements?
Didn't I tell you my Vegas hotel just got paid for?
You didn't say about who?
Oh, a married man.
Oh, okay.
So that I haven't even slept with or done anything sexual or intimate with in maybe 3.5, 4 years. Wow. I do hold relationships with these men. As I've discussed on my podcast, I don't believe in monogamy. I believe it's going to happen. As a man, I feel that's his responsibility. He made vows to his partner, but I think it's something that we also have to look at within ourselves. Like, there are so many different types of relationships. So what relationships he has with his partner, I'm not going to dissect it. Not everyone, even in marriage, gets into monogamous relationships. And a lot of times, and I'll bring it up, we've talked about when you deal with a certain man of money, of power, their wives are willing to put up with a lot of different things that maybe someone else in a more regular or civilian type situation would not. Yeah. So yes, I have engaged with married men. I will say that I'm not the type who goes into these relationships wanting to destroy a relationship, wanting to bring drama to the relationship. I feel like a part of me kind of helps the relationship. And I know you hate when I say that. I know, okay. and your face is already, but I will say this. I genuinely feel like one person cannot please one person entirely.
Okay. And
when we had King Noir on the episode, he brought up something that I liked, because he, of course, lives in a polyamorous, like he has a poly type relationship. Yeah. And I opened the show with Pretty Ricky. And he says, listen, I just don't care for Pretty Ricky. But as a man, if you find someone who wants to go to a Pretty Ricky concert with you and that person enjoys the things that you enjoy, who am I to keep you from that happiness? Or who am I to say that you can't do this because I don't want to do it? The same maybe with a partner with video games. Maybe you find someone that likes video games. Yeah. Maybe I don't like anal sex and you really like anal sex. Am I supposed to keep that from you? I think it's something where, I don't know. So to me, the relationships that I have with these men, I know are completely entirely different than the relationships they have with their wives. The things they talk to me about, the things we may do sexually are different. I don't even have sex with these niggas a whole lot. In real life, like, it's just a lot of, we build relationships. A lot of people can see that as, bitch, you ain't shit. You know he's married. Why do you even go in that? And I will say, and this is where the sugaring comes into it, I don't have those relationships based off of emotions. A lot of them are friendships, and if they turn sexual, then there has to be an arrangement. Mm-hmm. So I do, if your wife is sitting at home with all her bills paid, and you come into my line, something needs to be paid over here as well. Okay. So there is an arrangement made most of the time, 99% of the time. Yeah. But I don't go into it wanting to destroy a happy home. I don't go into it trying to tear families apart or anything like that. Like, that's just not the basis.
So here's my question for you, because like, again, we've talked about this on your show, and I know like where I expressed my reservations as far as like as a married woman and as somebody who looks at you as a friend is on one side, it's like, okay, if a woman, like, it's inviting so much, there's so much shoulda, coulda, wouldas that you could be inviting to your doorstep. Of
course.
And like, so my question for you in this is like, if a woman said, like, a man could say, oh, she totally is okay with this, we have an open marriage, whatever.
Right.
And that could be the furthest thing from the truth. And then she like comes to, I'm just giving you a hypothetical. She comes to you and she's like, Mandii, I don't care what the hell he said to you, you know, and this is not okay. I don't like this. Would then you end it?
See, and I haven't been in a situation where a wife has came to my doorstep or been like, bitch, you better not. Like, and it's crazy because with the men who I have dealt with, a lot of times their wives are aware of me, whether in a friendship, maybe they don't know to the extent of my relationship with their husbands, but I'm not a secret. I'm not a secret person. So if that came to me, I don't like drama. I don't like that energy. Yeah. So I would come to him like, oh, I ain't signed up for this.
Yeah.
So in that sense, and not only that, I have a thing when it comes to women coming to women as women. I'm gonna come to you as a woman type of thing. Like, again, I didn't walk down and make those vows, and I think a lot of women go to attack the woman as if the woman is, oh my God, the person, instead of holding their partners accountable, because the partners who lied to you. The partners who broke their vows. If theirs were vows, if you guys don't have that arranged relationship as far as open relationship, poly, or whatever the case may be, your partners who broke that. And so this energy and this anger, all of that needs to be relayed to the partner. I don't think to the other woman it should be.
And to counter your point, I would say this is that my energy, if this was my situation, is that my energy, I'm going to keep the same energy with you and with him. Okay. So that's the thing. Like, for me, is, you know, especially because we know that this is, you know, time and, you know, tried and true of like a woman's dating a guy and he hides everything.
Oh,
and so she has no idea. Of course. So then my issue would then not be with you because you didn't know. But upon finding out, if you keep it up, that's a problem. And that's not a problem just with you, but that's a problem with him. And that's a problem with anybody else who was, you know, in on the rules or whatever. And so that is why, like, where, you know, it would come from me. And so, like, again, if this is what a couple has agreed upon and they're okay with it, right, that is, you know, whatever floats your boat. But I know that that's not the agreement that we got. So
right.
So that, and
so
there's no worries there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So as a married woman, because I know this is, cheating is a topic with not only marriage but boyfriend, girlfriend, like this, and I think it's just brought on with the sense of monogamy, that one person is to be with one person and that's it. Do you genuinely feel like your partner loves you less if he were to cheat sexually with someone else? Yes. Like, so you attach the amount of love that someone has to you to their penis, like to sex.
Yes, because and not even just to the sex, it's to the commitment that we've made to each other. Like, so you speak a lot on the commitment and that the commitment was made between them and not between her and you, between him and her.
Right.
And so going back to that, you understand how much that commitment means to two people, and why it needs to, that issue, if there's going to be an issue, you know how you feel like that, if there's going to be an issue, she would need to take it up with him because he's the one that broke that. So it's kind of going without, it's being said without being said, that like there is a promise that's made that between two people saying that I'm choosing you and you're choosing me. And it's about, and it's not just even about the sex part of it. It's about the the lies. It's about the fact that
the
like
betrayal,
you could be very well taking from household money. You could be taking from money that's supposed to be for our life together, our kids, our future, and you're giving it to somebody else for temporary gain.
Right.
And so I would feel like because I've committed myself to you, I've turned down other opportunities. I've done whatever.
What other opportunities?
Not other, like it's hypothetical.
Right. Hypothetical.
I gotta throw my joke in there.
I have built my life and lived my life a certain way that takes you into consideration.
Right.
So the bare minimum you can do is to make sure that I'm taken into consideration as well. And by not doing that and taking your talents somewhere else,
right,
makes me feel like less loved because, and at the bare minimum, that's obviously like we were talking about communication. That's a conversation that has to happen, and I'm gonna tell you that hurts me and that makes me feel less loved. So if you go out and do it anyway, then that means you're not taking my feelings into consideration.
But what you just said, I think, is actually, and it's why I stress it literally every episode of my podcast. And I think that the act of cheating, the act of all of this, comes from the ignorance in being able to have a successful relationship outside of monogamy. Mm-hmm. Having a non-monogamous relationship is possible with communication. So I feel like the sense of cheating, the sense of having another woman, the sense of me being another woman, all of this can be handled if you communicate. Because a lot of people go into committing relationships not letting their partner know, listen, I enjoy doing this. I don't know if I can be with just you, but I need you to know that I love you. And so when you go in and you feel like you can't be truthful or 100% open with your intentions and what you really want, that's why you go out and find it elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if from day one you meet someone and be like, listen, I really want to be with you, but I don't see myself being able to sexually be with one person forever. Are you okay with this? Mm-hmm. And then as a woman, you have to decide if you want that. But even as a woman or a man, like a woman can come and say that, like, listen, and I say it on my podcast, I think I would prefer to be in a relationship where I would be allowed to swing. I may want to see my partner be with other people. I may want to be, quote unquote, allowed to be with other people. Yeah. But it's also not turning someone into your property and holding them hostage of what they can and cannot do. So when you have these open conversations early and communicate, this is what I want, then the fear of being cheated on or feeling like you're betrayed when you're being cheated on. Because, of course, I've also talked about, I know that you could have sex without emotions being attached. Mm-hmm. I know men do it all the time, and I've been a woman who can have sex with someone and there be completely no emotional connections attached to it. So to me, that's why I don't attach love for somebody and sex together maybe the way you do.
Yeah, I think it's important that you say that because I already know that like the question that somebody who will be listening to like who would be more apt to listen to our show would say would like, well, what is, and I asked you this on your show about like, well, what happens when it comes time for Mandii to be in find a partner who's spending her life with, and like if that they do that to you and then I don't
connect cheating to love. Yeah, I don't believe wholeheartedly, even just with my sexual cravings and even just how we're made as human beings, like we have sexual cravings for so much. And sometimes we just want another body or another touch or another feel. And I know people don't believe that women can have those feelings, but we as women have those feelings too. Maybe sometimes we want to feel a woman and not my man. And then there's even the line of, well, is being with another woman really cheating if it's not? And so all of these conversations need to be had, and that communication needs to be had. But to me, if I get into a relationship, and I've said this, don't have a baby on me, don't bring an STD to me, and don't let another woman be able to question my position with you. Mm-hmm. I believe that with communication and the love that you have for someone and how you care about them doesn't have to be associated to the sexual act of things. So unlike my partner, so Weeze is into more so open relationships where she would allow her man to go on dates with someone else. To me, I wouldn't feel comfortable with my man building an emotional connection to another woman. Okay. Sex, go out and fuck who you want. Let me know, or let me be able to watch you engage in this, which is why I say I would probably want a swinger type of situation where I can be involved or at least watch and know who his other partners are. But yeah, so to me, the idea of cheating or betrayal, I would go into it with those three things. Criteria. Like, don't make a family outside of what you and I have. don't bring back anything to me because you out here fucking raw. Like, I don't believe, like, safe sex. I'm a super advocate of that. And then again, don't allow a woman to be able to question my position with you and your feelings for me.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I'm
like,
glad we
you know?
I know, and I'm glad we talk about it because I have, and I think that it's always good because it's just like, I feel how I feel.
I know.
And you feel how you feel.
Of course. And we can agree to disagree.
And we can agree to disagree.
Absolutely. I ain't gonna fuck TJ, so don't worry, girl.
No, I ain't worried about that.
You
but
know what?
I know.
Yeah,
and then that's the thing. And it's just, I think it's good because it's, and it comes back to like, before getting to know you, and I think the thing is like, I got to know you before we had this conversation.
Absolutely.
And so it like, and quite honestly, like if I had knew that about you beforehand, I might have like been a little, or maybe I would have like written you off. I would be like, nah, like I can't. But
absolutely,
it's also harder to know because it's just like you and Weezy and women who are always speaking about sex positivity and on like more public platforms. Michelle Hope, all y'all, like y'all, you guys are multi-dimensional people, and so. While I don't agree with what you do, and I'm going to make sure I emphasize that to our listeners because I don't want you to think I'm like
siding with the side chick. No, she's not.
No.
We only talk about it.
And like, I don't agree with what you do, but I also know that there's more to you than just this part of you.
Of course.
And so, yeah, I just want to make sure that was my little like disclaimer or whatever to this conversation because we've had it several times and like pretty much we're kind of repeating what we've texted about into microphones.
Right, but I think that it's important too that just as people we look at each other as people and know that we're not going to agree with everything that someone else does. Yeah. I'm friends with a lot of women who are escorts or strippers or sex workers or things that a lot of people would look down upon. But because I know them as people and they come with so much more in their intellect and how they are as mothers or how they are as friends and how they treat me in a friendship, even though I may not agree with their lifestyle and they may not agree with everything that I do either, I'm able to look at them past their faults. And I think that as people, we like to put judgment on someone if they don't align with everything that you agree on. And so I'm glad that as a married woman, you can accept me for who I am as an individual and look past maybe the decisions that I make that you don't agree with.
But I think having a conversation and being able to talk about it.
Oh, we definitely talked about it. Because she was like, sis, you do what?
Yeah.
We need to talk about this. Because as a married woman, I'm not with that.
I was like, I have questions.
Yeah.
But what you said, it resonates with me as far as having the conversation, you know. I think giving people the choice,
of course,
is the most important thing, and I feel that way about like everything. Like give your partner the choice that listen, this is my lifestyle. It's either gonna be a part of it or you're not. You know, as opposed to not giving that person that choice.
Because that's arguably the more fucked up thing.
Yeah. Absolutely, but I also think that when you go into relationships, when you put a lot of the focus on the sexual aspects. And you're seeking, oh my God, we're monogamous. Is he cheating? Like you focus on so many other things where you're not even able to enjoy the person. Gotcha. And look at all of the other things you enjoy about that person. How he's a good father, how he does provide for the household, or how he makes you feel outside of the bedroom and things like that. So I hate that there is such attention to sex and what you're doing when you're not with me instead of just really enjoying and appreciating the relationship as a whole. Because there is so much that goes into a relationship other than the sex.
This is true.
So,
is it too wordy?
No.
Okay.
You very much have a type. Do you entertain men?
That's what we do. We talk about my type.
Do you entertain men who fall outside of that type, in your opinion?
I'm shallow as fuck. I'm shallow as shit. I like very good looking men. I need to send you some just so you could see. Like all of my friends are like, oh, Mandii, they all look alike. But I mean, I have a type. Financially and physically. I don't think I scour very far off of what I like. I like paper bag brown, tatted, tall, slim, niggas with a big dick and money. I'm not gonna lie, outside of that, no. Like I do have a preference. And we talk about that a lot too because people may think maybe sometimes we body shame, or we're racist, or we're colorist, or, you know, I'm shallow because I don't want a nigga making $30,000 a year. And so we talk about these things a lot too, because people see it as, oh, you're a gold digger, or oh, you're this. And to me, I think it's okay to have standards and preferences.
Yeah. It's your life.
I definitely have them, whether that's going to hinder me in the long run or not. Possibly.
Yeah. That's going to be kind of like my next question.
I know.
Because what if you blocking your blessings, girl? Like, what if
blocking what?
Because
I shouldn't have to settle. I feel like there's 8 billion people in this. 5'11".
If he's like 5'11", you're like 4'12". No, that's like 5 feet.
You know, I'm 5'1 3/4", so 5'2". But I do prefer taller men, and this could be more of a psychological thing. My dad is 5'9", dark skin, from Jamaica, Islander. I literally like everything that is not my father, and I don't care for my father. So I feel like even when I grew up and seeing what a man was, when I think of protection, I think of 6'5" plus. When I don't like anyone who would physically resemble my dad, because I didn't really care for how my dad was as a father, as a provider, as a man. He was an ATM to us growing up. There was no really emotional connection to that. So when I see myself with a man, it's literally everything that's opposite my dad. And that is the light skin, tall, slim, lots of money, very generous, handsome looking. Like, so yeah, unfortunately, you know, if you just look at the Tyler Perry movies, that's probably just about what my niggas look like.
It's always a childhood issue. We all got
it. It is. But psychologically, if you look at, there's a lot of reasons why. We just had Raquel Savage on my show, and we talked about period sex and fucking on your period. And as nasty and as much as I'm into things, that is one thing that is a no-go. And she was like, there has to be a psychological reason why. But I'm not gonna lie, growing up, and even I can take it back to daycare, if I fell and scraped my knee, or another kid fell and scraped their knee, the last thing you were to do was touch the blood of someone else. So to me, engaging in sex and allowing another human being to play in my blood, or it become a massacre, and to me it's just not what I see as right. We as humans are not supposed to be playing with other people's blood. So why are we fucking? And there's my blood. Like,
are you blood shaming?
I'm not blood shaming, but to me, and again, when she brought that up, I said maybe that is a psychological thing. Growing up, I was never. You weren't. If someone was bleeding, you might have something if you touch someone else's blood, and that was just how you grew up. Like, if someone else was bleeding, the teachers, everyone made sure you put on gloves before that you even put the Band-Aid on. Like, it was just a lot to keep yourself from touching other people's blood.
And I think that's arguably like a prevailing notion that people like don't want to do. So, but
do you have a type when it comes to women?
Oh, of course. I like them to look like me because I think I'm fine as fuck. So, no, I like thick women. I don't really like slim women, but which is crazy because when it comes to men, I like very slim men, not the other.
I have a friend who's on like the curvier side, and she always likes tall, like slim men
because they got big old dicks.
Which is what she said too.
I'm telling you, they have third legs. And so that probably is a shallow thing to me because I am a size queen when it comes to being in the bedroom. But as far as my women, I do like women to be voluptuous or thick or have curves, have ass, titties. Whether they're fake or not, I don't even care. But I just enjoy the curves of a woman.
Got you.
So you guys, you and Weezy, and have kind of had this very like fast trajectory since starting Horrible Decisions.
We've been for a year and maybe 4 months. We started it last year in the end of March.
Yeah. So it kind of it's gone fast.
Oh, real fast.
Yes. And hi Weezy, sorry. Hey girl.
Hey girl. Hey.
So dating, how has it been? And I guess you kind of touched on it since you've become like a more public persona. Like, is it? Would you if you had to pick, would it have been easier or harder?
I honestly feel like even when you did the spiel in the beginning, since 2009, I feel like I've been a public persona from a personality on Twitter. I also had a blog where it was very visible that fullcourtpumps.com was me.
Yeah.
I did all of the writing. I was credentialed media with the NBA. I have a ton of friends all over the country. I'm friends with prominent people. So to me, I've always kind of been out there, whether it was modeling, whether it was blogging, whether it was just on social media. And to me, that has hindered me because I like quiet guys. That's also a preference and type that I have. And they hate that I'm so known, and the people on my phone. Like, I spoke with my ex, and I just happened to ask him because I think it was a topic that we wanted to bring up on the show. And I was like, if there's one thing that you hated about me, what was it? And outside of the following and that everyone knew me, he was like, I hated just how nonchalant you were about who you were being around. He's like, I remember, you just texted me and let me know that you were hanging out with Chris Brown. And he's like, as someone who doesn't have Chris Brown money or Chris Brown clout, as a man, I was intimidated and insecure about the men that you were around when you weren't around me, because I knew at any given point, if they wanted you, they'd have you, type of thing. And I'm like, no, I love you. And I've had actually that issues with another man that I was we were talking engagement at one point. And he feared that as well. Like, if LeBron James wanted you, and you have access to these men. So there's a huge insecurity with dating because of my social media, because of my attention, and because of my reach. When it comes to dating, they're like, who do you have in your phone? Who just texted you? And so I have to find a very secure man who's okay with me having those type of friendships.
It's gonna happen.
It is. Yeah,
but you do. It's like I can see it from both sides, because it's like
if Rihanna was texting TJ, like
I'd be like,
right.
So, but the thing too is that TJ's made me feel secure through our relationship and our marriage, that like, even if that was the case, as much as I would be like, okay, like, I mean, but at the same time, we have the type of relationship or marriage where he'd be like, bitch, look, like, he was like, like, what we gonna say to her? Or even just like, so it's that goes back to the communication thing, or the back and forth, which is like, you need to be with somebody who is very secure in themselves. But then also too, then you should, if they have enough wherewithal to be secure in themselves, then also you should like be good about reassuring them.
Oh, and I do. I'll let them know. I want you. I'm with you. I'm giving you my attention, which is why even when guys hit me in my phone with, I know you got mad niggas. Who am I texting right now though? Like, who am I on the phone with right now? Who am I laid up with right now? Like, with you. And so I do constantly feel like I have to reassure the men in my life, the single ones, that I'm interested in them and not anyone else. Yes.
Do you find that you act differently when in a relationship versus being single?
What's single?
My friends laugh at me. Oh, don't let me like a nigga. I'm a whole new, like, I wouldn't say I'm a new person. I'm still me. I'm still loud. I'm still giggly, but I'm very catering, which people wouldn't think, because I'm mean. I'm a bitch. I'm very blunt and open, and I'll let a nigga know that I have another nigga. Like, this is what I have, like, even my situation now, and I talk about it on the show. I have 24/7 and I have Felon Bay. And I really like Felon Bay, but he's aware of 24/7. And unfortunately, he's not Felon Bay isn't who I see myself with long term. So I'm also not a serial dater. If I'm going to commit myself to a person, or we're going to go into, this is our relationship, these are our guidelines, it has to be with someone that I see a future with.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I've been single Mandii for a long time because I genuinely don't want to waste my time or anyone else's. So I know what I want, and so I'm not going to just settle. And if you can't meet me financially, intellectually, or sexually, I don't know if we have.
What if they meet you in 2 out of the 3?
Oh.
Yeah.
2 out of the 3? Like, I've actually, like, and I noticed this even with Felon Bay, he's not who I would, like, the sex isn't everything, and I'm still okay with him on the intellectual level, and I've overlooked the sex part. So I think the sex part is the one part where I would compromise the most, because I'll deal with dumb niggas. Oh my God. So even intellectually, financially is probably the biggest part, because I do want a partner. I want to be able to build. And I mean, I'm not in my 30s yet, but I'm not in high school anymore. So I am unfortunately very shallow with where you are financially, what kind of goals you have at the age you're at, things like that. Like, I definitely focus on that.
So hypothetically, since
he
has everything that you want, but now he loses it. He loses the money.
Oh, if we're together and then
together,
like y'all been building, and then like let's say like his company just goes under.
So to me, again, if he had a company, that's a man who's either invested. That's a man who has goals, or I know that he's capable of doing it again.
Okay.
There's a difference between someone who's on parole for the next 2 or 3 years that, you know, can't get a job because he has a felony on his record, and there's only so much he can do that he's limited. In a man who I know has built that success for himself, if he's lost it all again, I could be there I know that he can do it again.
Gotcha.
And I would be there to uplift him as that. But to be someone who's my age or older and has yet to achieve any level of success, it's just like, now I don't even know how long this journey is for you. If you've already done it, I know that you can do it again. But when you're still in limbo as to what you want to do, what you can do, you don't know your strengths, you don't know what you can do. It's like, I'm not in high school anymore. Am I really about to be the ride or die and lift you up to that? For that, I'd have children. Let me lift up some children. I can't lift up a grown-ass man.
So, let's see.
Uh-oh.
Do you want, and you kind of answered this, but
kids, no.
No, I didn't say kids.
Okay, because you already said that was going to be a quick conversation.
I was like, do you want to find somebody that you want to spend your life with?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
And if they want kids, then that's not the person you want to spend your life with?
So I love this guy. It was a guy that I was dating probably 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Spent the weekend with him, almost the week before I left to Singapore. I was in Singapore for 6 months for studying abroad. And that conversation was had, and he wanted a kid like yesterday. And at that time, I think I was 24, 25, and I was like, oh shit, this isn't going to happen. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
He already had one. I have considered even just taking on a man's baggage of someone who may have already multiple kids already. To me, because I don't want kids, I wouldn't keep someone from having kids, though.
Okay.
So it would be a conversation like me and him where we have in the beginning. And if I know that you want a family of 5, and I know that that's not what I want anytime soon, even remotely, I can't waste your time for that. And I think a lot of people go into relationships where people address these concerns and things, and people think that they can change the minds of people.
Yes. And
so to me, I don't want to be the one to waste your time or change your mind to not wanting kids when you told me in the very beginning you want a family of 5. And so just as I'm getting older, I used to not want men with kids, and that's now something that I know I'm willing to accept.
Yeah.
Because if I want a man who maybe doesn't want kids, maybe it's because he either has some already, but I would not keep a man who wants kids, because I ideally don't want them.
What made you not want kids?
I mean, I grew up in a single parent household. I grew up with food stamps, Section 8, with that. Not only that, I see myself as very career driven. And so I don't know if I could do everything that I want to do and be a mother. Like, so kudos to you for doing that, and Beyonce for doing what she does, and all of these women. To me, I just want to see us go as far as I can successfully. My career would be my baby. I do. Even with the podcast, I view myself as an entrepreneur, but one day I do want to open up my own accounting firm. Like, so I see those things as my baby. I want a dog. I think a dog can be my baby, but not only that, because I have had insecurities with my weight and my body. At 5'1 3/4, you know, I was just 230 pounds. Yeah. So to me, I'm also looking at, okay, a baby is going to shift even how I feel mentally, and physically and security wise. And so even to me, I will say the thought of me ballooning up because of a baby has also been a good form of birth control. Like, I'm also shallow in the sense of not only the men that I look, but I do want to look and feel a certain way about myself. And I know that a baby would hinder that in many ways.
And I'll say this. I think that as long as if you feel that way, for however long you feel that way, then you should continue to actively not try to have a baby.
Yes.
Because there's nothing worse than trying to like compromise on something like that because they can't give them back.
No.
You know,
no.
And even though they're yours, like, it's just like you don't, you know, you wouldn't want them to you know, because however you felt always kind of comes to light. So it's like, it's like your 13-year-old was like, Ma, you really was not about with the shits when it came to me, right? And so I think
I wouldn't want my child to feel like I didn't want them. But not only that, I'm very big, because I did grow up in a single parent household. I refuse to be a baby mama, a single parent, or co-parenting, or anything of that nature. If I were to one day have a child, one, that's it, I would want it to be with a man who wants to be with me forever and wants this. And like, I can't imagine, I don't want to be anyone's BM. Oh my God. When I hear niggas refer to the mother of their children as my BM or my baby mama, or
that's triggering. That's
oh my God, it's disgusting to me, and I just don't want to be referred to as that ever in fucking life.
Well, and I think that that's fair. I will say this: we're slightly older than you, and we're definitely different paths in life. But what I will say is that I wouldn't be surprised that if like 36-year-old Mandii sings like a slightly different tune.
I wouldn't doubt it either. I'll be in a different space with my career, money, finances.
And so that's why, like,
absolutely.
I'm like, so, because like there are some people who are just like, nope, not for me ever. Like, you know, like I have a cousin, she's married, but they don't, you know.
Well, when I said that, it could change.
It could change, And
but
but like not right now,
because
even the person you were talking about before was a 24, 25. We were married at 25, 26, and he was like ready, and I was like, nah.
Right.
I was like, pump your brakes.
But not only that, we're talking about kids. Can I like a nigga first? Like, I don't even like I literally, like, with the 24/7 guy, we've been fucking 4 years and still use condoms. I'm very adamant on this is not what I want, but there's also no one. It doesn't matter how many M's is in your account, because I do deal with prominent men, and I wouldn't even have it for the money that may come with it. It just doesn't mean that much to me, and I genuinely want a family or a relationship with a partner. So yeah, no trapping. I'm just not interested.
So we're gonna switch gears just a little bit.
Just a little bit, okay.
Just a little bit. Let's take it back a little bit back to the show. So you guys talk about lots of things.
Yes.
And like I think what some people should really know about Mandii, especially from what I've seen thus far, is like Mandii is, not I want to say low key, is high key kind of a nerd, because she likes so it's like even though you guys talk about like the taboo, like Mandii wants to come with like
the facts,
PowerPoints and links and like resources and stuff like that. So she always likes to be like really well researched about the stuff that they talk about,
which is
good. Which is dope. And so, but with that being said, though, what's in all your research, if you had to think of something that like, what's something that jumps out your head that you were like, damn, this really shocked the hell out of me?
So, well, and you're a patron, so I want to thank you guys for supporting our show. But on the Patreon platform, and I've actually missed putting more sources up there, but I just took a class. So in my last semester, I had a class where I don't know how I landed in it, but thank God. So it was a class, Sex Since 1776 being the inception of the United States. And so I was able to learn about the strifes of women and sexuality, and the gender roles that we've grown to. Monogamy, LGBTQ, the movement of trans, the movement of gay, of black women in our society. How black men were perceived in the slave era and why they were treated the way they were treated. So honestly, it's through that class, and I've shared the sources on feminism, orgasms, things that I just didn't even know about. I would say probably one of the most interesting things that I came across in learning this, and I thank my professor, it was even that being our podcast is on sexual liberation. Back in even the 50s, which is very close, in the 40s, women who expressed their desire to have sex were clinically diagnosed as having a mental issue. And this was nymphomania or nymphos. And we still use that as a term today. But when you look into the history of what a nymphomaniac is, you were put into straitjackets and diagnosed and prescribed and shot up with meds because they thought that something was mentally wrong with a woman who expressed sexual desires or who craved having sex for more than just reproduction. And so we're actually going to have, hopefully, really soon, a sex addict on the show. He's a man, and there's another word for men. sex addicts. But I think that that's probably one of the craziest things that I've learned in opening my mind to researching more about sex is that shit. Who I am today, if I was the same person, I would have been locked in a mental institution because of how I desire sex and my urge for casual sex and different partners and stuff like that. So that's probably one of the most interesting things that I've found in my findings and research. And yes, I'm very nerdy and geeky. And when we have different conversations, I do like to post different sources for other people to read up on it, because sex goes way back to the very beginning of time. This ain't nothing new. No, it's nothing new, but the way we treat it is new, and the way our minds are, and the way society is, and how we can turn on TV and now see sex with gay couples and see trans and see just different things that were so kept into the closet and seen as an issue back in the day. So I think that, that's one of the most, and I'll actually need to post that source. Hopefully I can still have access to all of that in my Blackboard. But that class opened up a whirlwind of topics to me.
That's dope. Yeah.
What about, so I want to ask you guys, because you guys have listened to quite a bit, and I always just turn the question on, the podcaster.
Yeah, that's what y'all do.
So what was probably one of the most interesting things that you guys have taken away from the show, whether it's a topic, whether it's a guest, whether it's something that you guys brought into a conversation in your relationship? I'm curious to know that from each of you guys.
Which one do you want to go first?
No, you go first. You can run a point this time.
I see. This is like the gift and the curse, because I'm always like, I love talking on the podcast, but I feel like I don't want to like.
I love your voice when you talk.
But I know, but I don't want to talk. I feel like I already know I talk so much, so I'm sorry, y'all.
That's who you are. Be great.
So I would say, so listening to King Noir was like probably one of like the first like eye-opening ones, because that would be a lifestyle and a I don't even call it a genre, whatever you want to call it, of like sexuality that I would never like actively explore on my own, or like even give like a lot of consideration to. But hearing somebody sound so knowledgeable,
he sounded amazing.
So like just so like because the thing about it was like it did feel kind of like I was getting an education. Like, it wasn't just like, I'm on here to just talk kinky stuff.
Right.
And it was like, okay, he was kind of giving a background and a context to like what he did, how he did it. So I thought that was really
interesting. And the psychological aspect.
Yeah. And I really, so that was really interesting to me. Of course, like Michelle Hope is like always dope. Yeah. Hi, Michelle. And so because she is like, so maybe it's for me, maybe I'm like a sapiosexual. So like, people who know what they're like, who know what they're talking about, because I have personally, just in day-to-day life, I always have a hard time. I never have a hard time listening to the expert, because I'm like, okay, you're the expert. Like, I'm gonna take heed to what you say. I don't like when talking to somebody. I'm like, you know just about as much as I do. That always kind of like irritates me. So that I think those two, like, so I can't say like even if it was like a topic, but just like the perspectives that they brought, because that's so important for your platform. That's why we bring on people onto our platform, because again, we always talk about we have one perspective, but
one narrow,
so many others.
What about you, TJ?
I'm trying to think what's my favorite episode. I mean, for me, I like the openness. You know,
okay.
I'm different in the sense that, if we can call a woman a hoe, we can call a male a hoe.
Yes.
So the fact that y'all are talking about something that it's just kind of like the taboo, I like that it's against the grain.
Yes.
Like, if everyone's going left, I'm probably going to go right.
Always and forever.
And I say that because it's just, again, I mean, you're having that conversation, but again, by y'all having that conversation, Danny may hear it. And now me and her can converse about that.
Right.
And then there's other people who's hearing it, and there's other people who's like, oh shit, I didn't know I liked this, or oh shit, I didn't know people was this open in life. So I'm gonna say that's the most important thing. King Noir he was dope. Michelle Hope, your moms, I thought that was dope.
Yeah, they're
that was cool.
They're different. Okay, I appreciate
that.
I appreciate that.
So, all right. So here's, I think sorry, it's kind of wrapping it up a little bit.
Super wordy again.
Sorry.
Look,
I was thinking like, was like, what do I want to talk about Mandii? Like to Mandii that like I haven't talked to her about before, or that I could bring from like our text messages into the conversation.
Because our text messages be long as fuck, y'all.
Yes.
All day. She be like, girl, I'm teaching the kids, girl.
I was like, I gotta call you
back.
back.
I need lunchtime, girl.
So, kind of rounding it out. We already said people are going to be quick to make assumptions about you and Weezy. Mm-hmm. And because your content is not safe for work unless you got some headphones
NSFW all the time.
But like...
And turn them headphones down too, because I'm loud, y'all.
Yes. So, but if it came down to it, what do you want people to know about Mandii the person?
Ooh, so
not full court palms.
No, it's crazy too, because I feel like I get the villain role a lot on my show, but it is because I'm blunt, I'm straightforward. People view me as the emotionless one because I have mentioned being able to not even attach my emotions to sex, and even when I discuss men, it comes from a different space, and so I feel like maybe not as many women can connect with me. I will say maybe something that a lot of people don't know from me, and I mean, they kind of can pick up from it, but how hard that I do work and how much of a genuine person that I am to my interactions with people. I genuinely feel like I connect with people on so many different levels that maybe people wouldn't think so. I've heard people say, oh, I thought you was going to be stuck up. I thought you was going to be this. And for some reason, the perception of me is not really who I am. So I think that even though people are able to listen to me on a weekly basis and I openly discuss these things, I don't think people know really how genuine of a person I am. I would say.
I can see that.
I would say people don't know how really hardworking and dedicated I am to anything that I focus on. Like the amount of work that has gone into the podcast, all of the things that I do in my personal life. Like I literally left my job on the 7th and have not had one day break yet.
Nope.
I have not had one day of break. Like I told you guys, this is probably my 7th podcast that I've been featured on in the last week. I've been dealing with, receiving honors with the National Association of Black Accountants that I'm a part of. Yes. Thank you so much. But I'm constantly going, and I am multifaceted, multidimensional. I'm two people in real life. And I think when you and I talk, I'm Amanda, not Mandii. Yeah. You've gotten to know me on another level that I don't think a lot.
Her full name.
Listen, Amanda, like people ain't know that's what Mandii was. But just that I am a genuine person. Definitely. And that who I am, maybe on Instagram or even on the show, like there's so much more to me that I don't think people allow, Yeah. So I would say that, if that makes sense.
It does make it makes a lot of sense, and that's why I think we put the question in there, because it's just really easly to kind of like chalk people up to one thing,
or assume.
A
lot of people who assume things, and I think podcasting has helped me kind of grow in that sense. Like the worst someone can say is no.
Oh, nigga, that's what I say when I ask niggas for money. Yeah. I be telling all my friends, the worst they can say is no, girl.
Oh my God.
Y'all gotta, or always ask hi, and then the worst they can do is say, I can't do that, but I can do this.
So,
Yes, I ain't gonna look, that's the whole shit. But I live by that. The worst that can happen with anything,
I'm just saying,
is they can say no.
You approach people, and they're either gonna be super nice, they could be assholes, or they could just be like, today's not a good time.
No, and that's the worst thing you could be told from anybody. Yeah. Whether it's a job, whether it's, do you like me? Yes, no, it literally, the worst that can happen with an interaction with someone is that they tell you no. And once you get to the point where you can accept no and move on, then it's really not hard. Oh, I had to learn. If I knew that when I was younger, a bitch would have been rich. Now let me stop. Literally, even just the shame, or someone, I don't know why we're so scared of hearing no, or why we're so scared of not getting our way, or what keeps us from going the distance.
Society.
I think it's a fear.
Society.
I think it's a fear of rejection too.
It is.
I know, but that comes from the societal norms. That come from if I go ask a girl to dance with me and she says no, and my guys are looking, they're gonna laugh. They're gonna joke. So now I'm just not gonna ask. Yeah. I just won't. Well, I just won't take that extra step.
I speak as somebody who definitely fear of no sometimes does dictate how things. I asked you to come on this time, but literally I would have if I didn't already haven't established a relationship that we have, it still would have been him asking. So like,
what?
Because that's
first off, I ain't gonna tell you no.
But I know, but it's still like if it was 10 months ago, and I would have been like, no, like I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not comfortable asking. Like, but because like we have a relationship outside of just the podcasting thing, that's why I was more comfortable asking.
Right.
So when it comes to getting guests and stuff like that, TJ's always the one, and like a lot of things he's always the one because he's more comfortable with rejection, and I'm not. Okay. I'm like, so like once I get you in front of me, I'm all like ready to go because you've already accepted or you've said yes once.
But see, and I brought that up even in the very beginning, just knowing yourself type, and it goes back to if you learn to accept rejection, if you learn to just be okay with yourself and know that everyone is not going to please you or tell you yes or give you exactly what you want, and you know that you can live with someone telling you no, then just ask. Yeah. Like, and I tell this with everything, like you're not going to get any, like, what is it? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh, I don't even give a fuck now.
Yeah.
Like, and then I also deal with guys where they're like, well, I'm not going to offer you. So if you want something, you got to ask. Like, and I've had those relationships where I won't get anything unless I ask for it. And then when I get it, I'm like, oh, this was easy. All right.
Well, that's good to know.
How much of your life and upbringing has made you who you are?
Everything. From my mom working 2 jobs to support me and my 2 sisters as a single parent, from my relationship with my dad that I brought up earlier. My first job was at 14. So in high school, I played volleyball, I played basketball, I had a job, I was in the clubs, I was on the homecoming court. I've always been this busy person with a ton of things on my plate. So I feel like that's why I can juggle it now. I moved out of the house 3 days after graduating high school, moved to New York with $400 in my pocket. So the hustler mentality, being everything that I've done moving up has made me who I am today. Going back to school, still being first generation college graduate in my family. I graduated top 10 in my class in high school.
With honors, yeah.
With honors. Yeah. And because my mom and dad never went to college, it was, well, you need to work. School, what is school? Like, work. Or my mom wanted me to go into nursing because she's like, everyone's going to die, so you'll always have a job. If you, but I didn't like blood. Yeah. So what you want me to do? So, so there's always just like everything from just the very beginning of my upbringing to my relationships with my family members to me witnessing my mom take care of men with no money because of how she grew up, where her mom couldn't leave her stepdad because he provided. And so it's all a trickle down effect. But seeing my mom take care of men, them move in, her pay their phone bill, drive her car, and they still cheat on her. I just know that whether you deal with a man who's broke or a man with money, it's going to happen. And my dad had multiple girlfriends that we knew all the names of the girlfriends. They were all different girls every time we saw my dad. So I grew up with seeing this in my environment. So the idea of monogamy or seeing a marriage that works, that has never been a picture for me. It's never worked. And when I saw my friends who had married parents, they were miserable. Or they did deal with cheating or, so everything in my upbringing made me who I am today. But I think that it did with you guys as well. And I think it is with everyone. And that's why we do have different experiences and different opinions because we all come from different backgrounds. And it does make us who we are. We're products of our environment.
Absolutely.
We just are.
Definitely. I don't disagree with that at all.
We are.
So,
you want to ask the last question?
Sure. I'll ask the last question.
Last question. We did.
Last question. Then we're going to have our quarrel and we're going to duke it out.
Alrighty.
I'm ready. Head out. So, end goal, which you kind of touched on, but what's the end goal for Mandii?
Success.
And love and in work.
Success. And success is defined by everyone differently.
Definitely.
But success for me was graduating college. And now with my job it is going to be getting to a level to maybe where I can have my own business. I love the spirit of entrepreneurship and I'm glad to live in not only a country but a society where now Black women are doing their fucking things with entrepreneurship. But also to finally maybe find love. That's the end goal for me in whatever capacity that it is. Honestly, happiness. I've struggled a lot in my life with just growing up the way that I did grow and being on, government assistance, and then moving out and being on my own since I was 18. Literally packed up my car 3 days after graduating high school. So just happiness. And it doesn't have to come from finances. It doesn't have, but just being happy. That's the end goal for me. And I think it should be kind of the end goal for everybody. I know everyone sets different goals, but just being content and not having the stress of adulting, but just being happy with the job I have, the relationship I'm in, and whatever decisions I may make, just to be happy. That's the end goal, honestly.
Happiness is the end goal.
Happiness is the end goal.
I like that. I think that should be everybody's end goal.
That's my end goal. Very vague.
You only get one life, so you got to be happy.
You do.
Otherwise, you wasted your time.
That's why I suck whoever's dick. No. Oh my God. No, my bad. But no. Listen, and rejection ain't in it. I be sliding in them DMs, blue check marks and all. Hello. Oh, what's up with your cute ass? Oh my. Vic Mensa. Oh, he done had DMs. There's another one right now, the little soccer player but he's in London. I don't know how much that's gonna work. I don't give a fuck how many followers you have, how much money you have. My nigga, hello. I'm Mandii. How are you? I want you with your fine ass, and either I get a response or I don't. Like I definitely have no shame, and I don't believe in rejection. Oh, confidence is on 1,000,000, baby.
I love it.
Hey, and wait till my account get right. I'm just saying it's gonna go on 1,000. But no, like that sense of rejection isn't there with me anymore. And I've definitely grown to accept my body type, who I am, what I look like, and I may not be for you, but I'm for somebody. Yeah. So, and if you don't like me, maybe I'm just not for you. And I know that now because beautiful men hop in my DMs and you just might not be my type. You somebody's type, but you're not my type. Gotcha. So that's how I look at it now. So, oh yeah.
I mean, you got to be confident.
Go ahead, ladies. Be confident. Slide in them DMs. Blue check mark or not.
Yes. Be confident.
Always.
And forever.
Hey.
So, with that being said, we want to formally thank Mandii for closing our interview portion of the episode.
Girl.
I hope that you
and TJ, thank you.
I mean, listen. Thank you for mentioning me. That's all I
We love you. Love you.
I'm just here.
We just added you to our text thread. We love you.
You know we do have a group chat now.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm like, I talked to him on Instagram, but then we be like, blue bubbles. I'm like, let me just, both of y'all, hello.
So, as always, it's now time for our Lovers Quarrel. Okay. Something for me and TJ to beef about.
We got a ref.
Yeah. Sorry?
So we got a ref.
I'll be the referee.
You got a ref. Even though, I don't know, Mandy's a little too opinionated to just kind of not pick a side.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to let y'all know who's wrong.
Let's see. But beforehand, like always, I have to get myself worked up and hyped up to fight. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to throw it back. You ready?
I don't even know what you're going to do, but go ahead.
It says, oh no, the fight's out. I'm about to punch your
lights out.
Get the fuck back. Guard your grill. There's something wrong.
We can't stay still.
Okay.
I've been drinking and busting too, and been thinking of busting you
upside your motherfucking forehead. And if your friends jump in, girl, they'll be more dead.
Okay.
And scene.
I already seen like this is about to be a tag team, a handicap. Go ahead.
Hey. So the quarrel of the day. And we've talked about this between he and I, and I think this is appropriate being that you're our guest. Mm-hmm. Does your spouse or partner need to consult with the other if they're going to make a physical change to their appearance or body? The floor is yours, Mr. Bison.
I'm going to say they should, but they don't have to. Does that make sense?
Elaborate.
I'm saying you should because, if you're in a marriage or your partners, anytime you're making changes, there can be complications, stuff like that. So that should be taken into consideration. But it's your body. Whatever you want to do is what you want to do. So,
right.
So
maybe we are a little bit on the same page with this, but I'm gonna start big. I'm gonna start grand scale.
All right, go ahead.
And then I'm gonna bring it down to something that's actually like we talked about like yesterday. Okay. So like if you're talking about like surgery, like having like if you would get breast implants or not you TJ, sorry, but if someone was to get like breast implants or somebody got liposuction or somebody got the sleeve for weight loss or whatever, if it has to do with that, if what you're doing impacts our day to day, like, so if TJ got some type of surgery, I would say, not even that he needs like my permission, but like we gotta talk about it. You can't be like, yeah, Danny, so August 3rd, this is what's happening, because now like that not only impacts you, but that impacts us,
right?
Because it can,
because like I the way I put it
was what if I got it and I don't even need you? Ain't nothing gonna change.
But you're gonna need somebody.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Like you're gonna need me, because even if you got a surgery where you're out of commission for 1 day or you're out of commission for 2 weeks or something like that, that has an impact. From as simple as me having to take off from work to take you to the hospital, to me, in our life, dropping and picking up from daycare, things like that. Like that's why it needs to be discussed. Not saying that it's like you need permission, but it's just that like it has to be something that you can't just like pop up on somebody.
Agreed.
Now, on the lower scale of things, and this was something bringing me yesterday. So I was gifted with some eyelashes. The other day.
Bitch.
I'm blinking. I'm fluttering my eyes. I'm batting my eyelashes right now. And I was like, all right, I'll be back. And I came back
with lashes.
And so that's the type of stuff where I feel like, if he wanted to shave his beard off,
that's a slippery slope.
Why?
You think so?
Because it's temporary.
I mean, a beard is totally different
than getting lashes.
It is, because if you've never got eyelashes before, that's never been an issue. Then it's kind of like,
if you've never shaved before.
No, but you've seen me shave before. I'm not gonna ask you should I shave.
But there's always a first time for everything.
100%.
So the first time you shaved, I could have been like, oh my God, where's your beard?
All right. What if I told you?
That would be my response a lot. I think
really
I have that response a lot. Like, or I'll just let a guy know I really like when you have your beard, so maybe you should keep it like that more often.
Yeah.
Like even stuff like that. To me, I feel like the lash thing probably is. It's crazy because I kind of ask around the same question. So I was just featured on another podcast called Black Girls Texting. And we kind of did like a whole male listener letter segment. And so a woman wrote in and her man came to her and said, hey, I want to take you to DR. And while we're there, I want to pay for you to get your body done.
Oh.
And as a woman, she didn't know how she was supposed to respond to this, because it's like, do you not like me for
I would be
my body? Right. So how would you respond to that, right?
I would be highly offended.
And so then you have that, but what if your partner came to you with like, hey, I'll even pay and provide for this, and of course look after you after, which was your concern, of course. So what if your partner came to you and said, hey, I'll pay for you to have this done? How do you respond to that?
I don't think you could pop up with that though. I don't think you could just hit up somebody like, listen, I want to take you to DR. We're gonna get your body right.
First off, I'm gonna take issue with it because number one, you trying to be cheap because it's cheaper in DR. And I mean,
but they do a good job in DR too. I think they do a better job in DR than
the US. I don't know. I mean, I have never had any type of like body altering surgery.
Okay,
but I would. That wouldn't be my first issue. I wouldn't take issue with that as the first thing. The first thing would be like, okay, if me and you have never had a conversation about me, like it'd be one thing if I was like, damn, if I really had the money, I would like go and get like some, nips and tucks or whatever. I would do this or whatever, and then you like surprise me with it, then that's another story. Because I'm actively saying, but if you coming out the blue talking about, yeah, babe, we want to DR, we're gonna be at the all inclusive, but for 2 weeks we're gonna be there because you need to I'm paying for you to get you a butt lift or whatever you want to call it, a Brazilian butt lift or whatever. Like, I'm going to take offense to that. Because,
I mean, don't look at me like that.
I know. I'm just saying.
Look at Mandii. She's the one who posed the question.
No, I'm not. I get it, but I'm saying
don't you know now, nigga? Don't come at me with that shit.
I would not be okay with that. I'd be hurt. And I'm sensitive, whatever you want to call it, but my feelings would be hurt. And even though it may be have coming from the best of places or intentions, but that just means that like if we've never had a conversation about either my issues with my body or your issues with my body, then how are you gonna just like throw that curveball like that? Like,
that's pretty straightforward. I mean,
and
that's tough.
Yeah. But so that was one of the questions. And so when you told me that this would be the conversation, I'm like, that's so funny because kind of full circle, we kind of just had that conversation. But I also think too, when you look at things as the body altering surgeries, I think it's just more important that when you do stuff like the lashes, or even if you want to do lipo or BBL or the weight loss surgery or anything like that, that you're doing it for yourself and not for anybody else at all, whether it's attention, whether it's your partner.
And that's why I said it goes back to, you should let your partner know, but you technically you don't have to. Like, I should let you know because we're a married couple, but if I didn't want to tell you or if I want to do it by myself, technically I do have that right.
You do.
As an individual, it's just not right. It wouldn't be the right thing to do.
But I think also if we go back to even you guys asked me my preference. And if my partner is someone who prefers bigger, voluptuous women, and I go in, like I just had the weight loss surgery, there's a sense that he is with me because I'm his preference.
Yeah.
And so me changing my body, now he may not be physically attracted to me because of my appearance.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a big thing too. And so even with that, posing that question, it's like,
Are you changing? You could be changing the dynamic of the relationship,
of even the sexual and physical attraction to the person.
And that's why I feel like. So that's a good point.
Like
and
maybe he don't like your long ass lashes.
Maybe he doesn't. And I like him. I do like him with his his beard and everything. His facial.
Even though it doesn't really connect though.
But it's okay though. I like it.
I like the scruffy look all the time.
It's coming.
I'm like, no, you can save the barber after you see me. Yeah. I love the scruffy look on men.
So, I think it's like, for me, it's like about levels to it. If it's something that's temporary, like lashes or shaving or a haircut or because it's a big thing. It's like a lot of women will refrain from changing their hair a certain way because their partner is like, I like it with long hair, I like it with short hair, I hate weaves, I hate that. And
you'd be surprised, ladies, they'll sit here and say they don't like short hair. I had very long hair younger, chopped all that shit off, and them niggas was like, oh, this shit kind of look kind of fire. You'd be surprised even what men don't really know what the fuck they like, they just or what they don't like. Yeah,
or they're fed a narrative of like long hair.
Long hair don't care. No, bitch. Short hair don't care, ho.
So I think those types of things, do it for you, whatever. But if it's anything, for me, I'll double down on if it's anything that impacts, could be maybe your permanent appearance permanently, or could impact our day-to-day, then we gotta at least talk about it, okay? That's where I stand on it.
I think we all kind of agree in here. It's communication. It always comes 100%. Down to communication.
And I don't mind your eyelashes. It was just,
they look lit because you better like them.
You just didn't tell. No, it was just it was mad random. I'll be back. Where are you going?
Because I'll be back. I was trying to surprise you.
So then, and that's something you suck at.
Yeah, I know.
If I ask a question, instead of just keeping up the narrative, she'll just be like, all right.
But she surprised you with, what was it, that birthday
party,
trip?
Yes.
Yes, I knew about that.
Yes.
We talked about it. See, you were surprised. I think
I was
surprised.
You should have seen his face when he walked into that damn birthday party. He was like, what is going on?
What's going on?
He looked so upset.
Anyway, this is not about me.
It is about you, our podcast now.
You know, he's not here. He doesn't believe you could do surprises, but hey, she's been shown to know how to do some surprises.
I did it. I did good.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, let's wrap the sucker up.
Let's wrap it up.
End, y'all.
Listen, we want to thank Mandii
for joining us, for having me.
Now you go on your hiatus of guest features. You go on your vacations. You start your job. July is gonna be your month.
Busy, honey.
Yes.
I just need that check. That's what I'm ready for.
That's gonna bring the happiness.
I'm ready for that check.
Yes.
But no, thank you guys so much for having me. I think they've said it enough times. If you haven't yet, you guys can tune in to my show, Horrible Decisions. That is spelled WHOREible Decisions. We are everywhere your favorite podcasts are located, except for Spotify, because them hoes playing. But we working on it. We're still waiting for the Spotify approval. But again, you guys can check us out everywhere. You guys can follow me on my social media at Full Court Pumps, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, pretty much everywhere.
And we'll also have it in the description.
In the description of this episode. And again, thank you guys so much for having me. I love what you guys do.
Thank you.
I hope that if you guys are listening and you have your own podcast, just seeing the growth of what these two are doing, because they're making all the right moves. So
we're trying.
I love what y'all are doing. Y'all are dope. And thank you guys for having me. And thanks for being a voice for people that may not believe that monogamy exists. Y'all were on my show. We talked about monogamy. So even though I have my my opinions and my beliefs. I appreciate you guys for allowing me to speak on that without being biased or judgmental.
Definitely.
And I appreciate you guys also opening up the conversation.
Of course, of course.
Yes.
And of course, always, if you have a question, a concern, a quarrel, whatever you want us to talk about or read about and talk on the show, email us at loversquarrelshow@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at loversquarrel7 and on IG at loversquarrelshow.
Yeah, you hit all of those.
All of those.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like Joe Budden's.
Boom.
Hold for the gunshots.
Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. Wait, your gun pops? Pop, pop.
Sometimes it pops.
Boom. I don't know.
That's
bullet, bullet.
That's like a shotgun. Bullet.
Big time Jamaican. Gotta throw that in now.
Boyaka.
Boy, there you go.
So, all right. So, as always, this has been another episode of Lovers Quarrel. I'm your girl, Danny.
I'm your guy, TJ.
And as always, we fuss.
We fight.
But we love. Bye.
Later.
Bye.